Hi there. In this video I'm going to show you 7 different exercises you can do, very simple, to work on your tennis arm. Now if you have a single handed backhand like I do, just work on the right arm. If you had two-handed backhand, then you simply replicate the same exercises on both sides. And you can do one on the right arm, then do the next one on the left arm, switch back and forth. I don't do it on my left arm because I'm a musician. I play the guitar and my hand gets too stiff if I do too much with it, so I just don't bother with it. Now, first thing I want to tell you is feel free to look at other videos on YouTube to get other exercises, other tips, other suggestions. There's lots of good stuff out there. I use them myself. I'm constantly looking at different things. A lot of interesting stuff out there. However, don't go in for any of the you have to build up to using 25-pound or 50-pound weights in order to be really manly and stuff. This is tennis. Okay, you're not trying to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You don't need to in tennis. Secondly, and most importantly, this what I'm using right here to demonstrate is a 1.5-pound weight. The exercises I'm going to show you, I normally use a 3-pound weight during the week, which is Monday through Friday, while I'm at work. I do all these exercises. I do 14 reps of each of the exercises, which means in the course of a week I'm lifting, I forgot what it is, like 1,500 pounds or something in these exercises. Then Tuesdays and Thursdays I use a 5-pound and an 8-pound, and I do 10 reps of the 5, 4 reps of the 8 right now. And all of these will build up eventually, get back up to my normal level in the workouts. Now, even with a 1.5 or a 3-pound free weight, which is, this if you don't recognize, this is what runners typically use when they're running around, walking around. It's a nice little way I use it for various exercises. This is 1.5 pounds. The chances of you ever being on the tennis court and playing with a 1.5-pound racket are virtually nil. You will never play with a 1.5-pound racket. Even in days of wood, the wooden tennis racket, which I have here, which is from my hero rod laver, the Keymold rod laver frame. This thing only weighed max, most of the wooden frames weighed around 12 ounces. The heaviest one I'm aware of, I don't know what that was. Heaviest one I'm ever aware of was, I think Vilas was using a weighted down head frame, which was actually his head Vilas, which I think was 14 ounces. I believe Kramer used one up there around that as well. That's ridiculously heavy for tennis. Most likely none of you who are watching this video are going to use a frame that weighs more than between, say, 9 and 11 ounces. Okay? This is 1.5 pounds. Now, a pound is 16 ounces, and a half a pound is 8 ounces, so we're talking 24 ounces. That's more than double what you'll ever have to carry around on a tennis court. You do not need to use huge weights. What you need for tennis, when you're working on your racket arm, is reps, not weight. So ignore the videos where they say you have to build up to using a 20-pound weight or a 25-pound weight. Ignore that stuff. It is not necessary. It is far more important that you do reps. Other thing, you do not need to use heavy weights in tennis because for the simple reason that not only are you not using a racket that's heavy, but you want to go for the reps because that's what tennis is all about. You don't hit a single volley or a single forehand or a single serve and you're done. You have to hit them over and over and over again. And one of the things I use a weight like this for is I will, for instance, working on my forehand volley, which I always have a problem with, using the weight, punch, punch, punch. And I'll do this like 20 times, just doing the same motion. It's got the weight, I got the motion down. Hopefully someday I'll get it right. Take this and do this for 25 pounds, you're going to end up with a sore arm and what I've got, which are rotator cuff problems and arthritis. Arthritis wasn't that, it was getting old. But the rotator cuff is an issue, that's something totally different. Use a 1.5-pound weight, you can do this quite often, you're not going to hurt yourself. And that's the biggie. You don't want to hurt yourself doing these exercises. Most of you are probably club players who are just watching this video to get some extra tips. You don't want to use heavy weights, you don't want to hurt yourself, you don't want to incapacitate your arm, you don't want to take yourself off the tennis court because what's the fun in that? Keep the weights light. I use and have used for many years a 5-pound and an 8-pound for all of my free weight exercises. And that is the highest I've ever gone. For a short period of time, I think I was using a 10-pound, and this was ages ago. I was probably in my late 20s. Between 8 and 10 pounds, I don't know if there's any real difference. So, keep the weight light, do the reps. Now, my 3 pound at work, I'm doing 14 reps of each of these exercises I'm going to show you. I'm doing them every day. I spread them out. Don't worry about doing these all at one time. You don't have to. You can break them up any way you want to. If you're going to sit down and do a whole set like what I'm going to show you, give yourself at least a minute between each exercise. So do one, wait a minute, get your drink, take a guzzle, do the next exercise. On the drink bit, you want to be hydrated. Hydration is very, very important for anything that you're doing, including life. You don't want to be dehydrated and being alive. It is no fun. And you certainly do not want to be on a tennis court, even an indoor tennis court, and you're dehydrated. It is not fun. It doesn't feel good. Hydrate. Before you do any exercises, you also want to get warmed up. Now, I've already worked out today, so I'm just showing you this. I'm fine. I did have a bite to eat, so I'm slightly full, and that's why I'm a little puffy here, because I still have a nice big full stomach, and I'm very happy. Warm up somehow. Take a walk. I have a stationary bike on my porch here. I get on my bike. I do about a half hour in 3 sets of 10-minute runs between my workout, between my free weight work exercises. Get warmed up. And again, since we're just starting off with a 1.5 or a 3 pound, obviously you don't have to get that warmed up to hold up something that isn't really going to be much of a workout. You're going for reps here. You can break those up. When I'm at work, I do probably 3 or 4 of the exercises, and then I break. Next half hour, hour later, I get my next break, I do some more. I may even break it up over lunch in my 2 breaks, so I'm only doing 2 of them or 3 of them at the time. You don't have to do them all at one time. Also, very important, nothing that you do right now, right this moment, will make any difference to your tennis career, tennis game, tennis life, up until the day you die. It will not make any difference whatsoever. So I just did 3 wrist curls palm up, not going to make any difference. But if over the course of the next week I do 20 of those twice a week, and I do that every week, that's going to make a difference. If I do 50 of them a week, that's going to make a difference over the course of the next 6 months. That's what's important, that's what you're shooting for. Don't worry about what happens right now. If tomorrow you don't feel well, you don't feel like doing the exercises, you don't feel like getting on a tennis court, don't. You're not going to do anything by missing a day. If you end up missing a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month, or like I did, 10 months, that's not good. You're going to be out of shape. You're going to lose a lot of the work that you put in, because you're going to not just get out of shape, but you're going to lose your strokes, lose your concentration, focus. That's what you don't want to do. But anything that happens over the course of a single day, no difference whatsoever. If you're going through your exercises and all of a sudden your wrist starts to hurt, do you continue the exercises, or you just break and forget it? My suggestion is break first. If you're doing one and all of a sudden you feel that just doesn't feel right, stop. Take a minute break, take another drink. Go back to it, see if it gets any better. Try some warm-ups, try just dropping it for 15 minutes and starting again. If it doesn't work, drop it for the rest of the day, just pick it up the next time. Nothing you do, including hitting the world's best forehand you've ever been hit, or you've ever hit, is going to make any difference over the course of your entire tennis career. It's all of your work combined that's going to make a difference. That's what you should think about. That's why reps are important. You can do each of these exercises, I would say starting out with 5 each. Build up later and build up slowly. You don't have to rush this. Also, just practical. If you're seeing a doctor for any reason whatsoever, tell him what you're doing. Even if it's not even related to your arm or muscles or anything, let him know that you're starting a workout program, so at least he's aware of it. It may not have anything to do whatsoever with this problem you're dealing with, but it's always good to let your doctor know.